key lessons as it gears up to build the Africa we want and the Africa we deserve, as outlined in our Continental Development Agenda, Agenda 2063. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, launched by the African Union, represents a global market of more than 1.3 billion people to boost intra-African trade, but also with the world to deepen cooperation for shared affluence. Despite this progress made, many African countries are still facing different forms and magnifications of terrorism, as well as transnational organized crime that risk to undo the important developmental gains on the continent. Africa is now a member of the G20, a key global platform to express the views of the continent with the rest of the world. However, the reform of international global political, financial, and economic institutions to ensure global equity remains a priority for Africa and the global South. Today, I wish to seek the support of all members of non-aligned movement to the efforts of African Union to reform the UN Security Council. Africa, assuming permanent seat in the UNSC, will contribute to the global stability, peace, security, and sustainable development. That is why efforts shall continue to achieve this African dream of securing 2 permanent seats within the UN Security Council. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the non-aligned movement, faced with the goals yet to be reached and the many new challenges that are arising, is called upon to maintain a prominent and leading role in the current international relations in defense of the interests and priorities of its member states and for achievement of peace and security for mankind. Once again, I would like, on behalf of the African Union, to express our appreciation to His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the invitation extended to us to be part of this important summit. I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you for your kind attention.
I wish to thank His Excellency Musa Faki for his statement. I now give the floor to Mr. Yilmaz, Vice President of Turkey. He's a special guest.
Your Excellency Chair, Excellencies, dear colleagues, it's a pleasure for me to be in Kampala and to address the 19th Summit of the Non-Aligned Movement. Let me begin by conveying to you the warm greetings of His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and people of Turkey. I sincerely thank our Ugandan brothers and sisters for their kind invitation and excellent hospitality. We wish them all the success throughout their chairmanship. I also extend Turkey's heartfelt congratulations to Azerbaijan, who has successfully concluded its crucial role at the helm of the NAM. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout its history, the non-aligned movement has been one of the prominent flag bearers for a peaceful, just and credible international order. In the 6 decades that passed, the world has witnessed many atrocities. Yet the devastation inflicted on Palestinians since 7 October by the indiscriminate attacks of Israel in Gaza has been unprecedented in many aspects. UN Security Council has been paralyzed due to its inherent flaws and has failed even to call for a ceasefire. Thankfully, the overwhelming majority of the international community reject this injustice. We follow closely the proceedings before the International Court of Justice initiated by South Africa, which recently held hearings on the case against Israel made under the Genocide Convention in relation to Israel's actions against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. As for ongoing relief efforts, Turkey stands among the leading nations in delivering life-saving humanitarian aid to Gaza, with close to 6,000 tons of aid to Al Arish by air and sea. The unfolding crisis has made one thing crystal clear. There can be no lasting peace in the Middle East without settling the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We believe that a lasting solution can be possible through embodiment of an independent, sovereign, and geographically contiguous state of Palestine based on 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. The prevention of the conflict turning into a regional war is another priority. This is our main message to all relevant parties, both within the region and beyond, in order to keep the situation restrained. Ladies and gentlemen, while the war in Gaza has shifted the global attention to the Middle East, the war in Ukraine is still going on fiercely, shaking the foundations of global security. Establishing a peace, prosperity, and stability belt in our vicinity, as well as around the world, is an important component of our foreign policy. To this effect, we are using our political and diplomatic channels effectively for the peaceful resolution of global and regional problems. A prominent example is the Black Sea Grain Initiative, with which we brought together Ukraine, Russia, and the UN to avert a global food crisis. We are now working with UN, Ukraine, and Russia on additional measures. On the other hand, Turkey contributes to the prosperity and stability of the African continent in line with our African solutions to African problems principle. But to achieve that, we need to ensure that security and stability are restored in Sudan, Libya, Somalia, and elsewhere. With its wide diplomatic network and political determination, Turkey is well suited as a problem solver, system improver, and transformer actor in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Excellencies, dear colleagues, peace and security are the basic pillars of development. As you all know, terrorism is one of the global challenges to development and democracy, which threaten our common future. We have long been simultaneously fighting against multiple terrorist organizations such as PKK, FETÖ, Daesh, and Al-Qaeda. The eradication of all terrorist organizations permanently is an essential part of Turkey's national security strategy. It is also a necessity for ensuring peace and security in our region. Knowing that the fight against terrorism requires coherent and long-term international cooperation, we will remain at the forefront in mobilizing global action in our common fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Excellencies, the theme that our Ugandan friends choose for this summit, deepening cooperation for shared global affluence, precisely overlaps with Turkey's vision and aspiration in its foreign relations. As one of the leading countries in development and humanitarian assistance, Turkey will continue its solidarity with its region and beyond, with the principle of leaving no one behind. Our motto, "The world is bigger than five," captures the international community's rightful call for just, effective, and strengthened multilateralism with the UN at its heart. A more and fair world is possible. This is also what this movement stands for. In conclusion, let me assure you that Turkey will continue to support non-aligned movement members in their quest for sustained peace, stability, and development across the globe. I would like to express my gratitude to President Museveni for hosting the NAM summit, and I would like to thank all the delegates for their contributions.
want to thank His Excellency, the Vice President of Turkey. I now
suspend for the press to go away.
I now ask the press to leave the hall because they are not trusted for secrecy. They are rumor-mongers. So the ones responsible make sure they clear out. So now we are going for the heads of state.